What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Chaos with Dame. Today, we're going to be going through the Week 16 matchups in the NFL because we got some very big games, some very important games in the divisions, and most importantly, some big games for playoff seeding, playoff positioning, whatever you want to call it. So, we got a big game tonight starting off in Seattle, the Rams versus the Seahawks. Both teams 11-3. Seattle, of course, coming in at 5-2 at home, while the Rams match that record on the road, of course, at 5-2 as well. I think this will be a very interesting matchup. I know the first matchup they matched up in LA, and the Rams came in, of course, playing good ball, was favorites in that matchup and lost. So now they have to travel to Seattle in a tough matchup where it's winds of about 19 miles per hour. They're calling for light rain. Right now, I believe it's a light drizzle. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be some tough circumstances to play through. Davante Adams is also out as well, which we know he's been super big in that offense this season. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. Who's running game will be more effective. I think that leans in favor of the Rams, of course. Just with Matthew Stafford playing at an MVP caliber level right now, maybe the front runner for MVP if it were to end today. And then, of course, Kyron Williams in the tandem with Blake Corum that's been coming on as of late. So I think that leans their way. I know Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker are the duo in the other backfield, but you would think it benefits them being a home game, but I would lean towards the Rams. However, this matchup in particular is completely interesting. Matt Stafford, I said earlier, MVP caliber season, currently as of week 15 has thrown for 3,722 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Kyron Williams, as I was just talking about with the tandem of him and Blake Corum, 211 carries for 1,030 yards and 10 scores. And then, of course, on the other side, you have Jackson Smith and Jigba, which have been having a phenomenal season as well. But I can't just skip over Puka Nacua. Let me not do that because that would be wrong to skip over him to talk about the receiver on the other team. So, of course, Puka Nacua currently has 102 catches for 1,367 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that Rams defense that people were so unsure about, of course, we knew coming into this season the D-line would be very good. But you have guys on the back end like Emmanuel Forbes and Co. that we weren't too sure about, a lot of unknowns to the casuals. And so far, so good. That defense is one of the top defenses in football this year, and they've been playing very good ball. Like I said, this game's going to be super interesting. But on the other side, like I said, in the home team in these crazy circumstances, you have Sam Darnold, which has had 263 completions for 3,400 yards, 3,433 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. We've seen him have some very bad games though, with no touchdowns, multiple interceptions. I'm talking 3 or better. So in these circumstances, it's going to be super interesting to see how he goes. And then, of course, as I mentioned with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, they're trying to find his identity. I don't know if it's because Kenneth Walker's on a contract year, and on top of that, he's coming off of a season-ended surgery last year. But the situation with him and Charbonnet has been real shaky lately. So you never know who's going to do what on a night-to-night basis, or I should say a game-to-game basis. But he is the leading carrier, but he only has 4 touchdowns on the season with less than 200 carries. So we'll see how that goes in that backfield tonight. But, of course, the guy on the outside, the man of the hour, JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, 96 catches for 1,541 yards. I can't forget the 9 touchdowns, but 96 catches. So under 100 receptions, 1,541 yards with 3 games to go. That's crazy. But nonetheless, Mike McDaniel, of course, the head guy, be dialing up the defenses. We've seen that since he's came into the league with Baltimore and then transitioned over to Seattle to take over the head coaching role. So I think this will be a super good game. I think in this matchup, it's basically a pick 'em. I'm seeing actually right here, Seattle's 1.5-point favorites. The circumstances, I kind of got to lean in the direction of the Rams because I feel like the Rams dropped the ball earlier. So you expect Seattle to come home and take care of business because this could very well be for the division. Whoever wins this game could probably put themselves in position to take care of the division title this year and bring it home. So this is a very interesting matchup, super intriguing, 50-50 game. But for me, late in the season, as I mentioned earlier, I do trust the running back duo in LA right now more. And then, of course, Matthew Stafford is playing at an MVP level. So even with Davante Adams out, I'm a lean, I think, with the Rams to get a win here. But as I said earlier, I would not be surprised at all by any means necessary if the Seattle Seahawks, of course, take care of business at home, considering they were able to get a win on the road against them earlier in the season. And then, of course, as I mentioned, in that NFC West, you currently have the Rams, which locked up playoff spot at 11-3, but right behind them is the Seattle Seahawks at 11-3, which if they were to win tonight, they would hold the head-to-head over them completely because that means they had the season sweep on them in their division matchups. But then right behind them, you had the San Francisco 49ers sitting at 10-4. And one of these teams have to lose tonight, at least you would think, unless we end in a dramatic draw. But you would think one of these teams have to lose. So if the Niners can win this week, they pull within a game and the same record as somebody, and they have the head-to-head over one of these teams currently as well, with I think a game or two to go against them. So it gets real interesting in the NFC West. Whoever wins this game puts themselves in the driver's seat to win a division, but it still isn't certain. So this is a super big game. I think it's very important actually for Seattle to win this game, considering they got the early win over the Rams. But like I said, I think the Rams win a tight game here, but I would not be surprised either way it goes. So drop a comment, let me know what y'all think of the outcome, who the key players are in this game for you, and most importantly, who you think's going to win.